honest, I'm actually really surprised it's been so quiet of a first week of 2019, given that Black Ops 4 has still a bunch of stuff on the horizon. We ended 2018 off with a few things, including double XP events of 50% off in that regard for the shop, but then we kind of returned back to that sense of normalcy starting out the year, and our predictions earlier in the week, well, they actually have been a little bit wrong. We haven't seen really anything come of it, and as of today being the last day that we'd probably see an update happen for any sort of thing, even just a weekend event within Black Ops 4, we didn't come 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So the question now begs, what's up for the content additions within Black Ops 4 come January? Because we have a whole month open to us, and we're not talking about one specific week or anything like that, or this past week in general. We're talking about the content on hand that may very well be coming within this month of January of 2019. So the first thing we'll talk about, I honestly thought we'd get a teaser for this earlier in the week, especially given the fact that Treyarch would be coming back to the offices to start the new year out, and with it being something that's already heavily anticipated, I'm a little surprised we didn't see even a slight whisper on any official accounts from Treyarch or Call of Duty about League Play. When we take a look at it, League Play was something that was announced all the way back at the reveal. It got a ton of hype around it back then, kind of went by the wayside because we started to see things with MP and later events like E3, then we had the beta, then we had the Blackout beta, then we had that pre-release event in which we saw a little bit of everything. But as we knew at that point, League Play wouldn't be shipping with the first initial final product of Black Ops 4. It'd be added in as a later content addition within Black Ops 4. And as it stood, around that time of launch, it was kind of anticipated we'd see it launching with the first event of CWL Vegas. However, come CWL Vegas, it was not there and it got delayed. As of the Absolute Zero update, it was officially addressed then that it would be pushed back to early 2019. So we're told now early 2019, but that's really the most specific point we get. We don't have any specific ETA or anything that says first, second, third week of January, or even maybe into February. What we do have is potentially some other correlating events that may tie in with this, and a great time to release a competitive ladder for Black Ops 4. Towards the latter half of January, we'll see the CWL Pro League play-in qualification happen from January 16th to January 20th, with actual Pro League play beginning in February. So if they're going to still kind of stick to that sort of tying in with the CWL event and announcement with that, it would be perfect time to come at that point. So the 16th is that first earliest day, but it also is something close to a date we'll talk about a lot within this video, the 15th. So keep that in mind as we move forward a little bit, talking about some of the things here within this video. But the next content thing that we're probably gonna be seeing in terms of Black Ops 4 free content is potentially new maps. Now, this is one that, as with some of these, we'll talk about as pure speculation, but new maps is something I have a really good feeling about coming this month. I'd honestly be really surprised if we don't get any, but as to what they could be, your guess is as good as mine. I'm not anticipating brand new maps, but rather remakes or aesthetic change-ups and variations of existing maps. New content will probably be reserved for the Black Ops past maps and things like that we saw with Madagascar and Elevation. But we've already seen 3 variations of existing and older maps in the way of Nuketown, Seaside Sunset, and Firing Range Night that were adjusted as free content given to all players. And the reason why I think we'll be getting something in January is because it's the only month so far that we don't have anything laid out since the very launch of the game. Granted, October was that month in which the game launched, and it launched halfway through almost, so there was no DLC naturally, but come November, we had Nuketown released on the 13th to all, with Seaside Sunset and Firing Range Night in the latter half of the month on the 27th. Then, later in December, the third technical month the game extended into, Madagascar and Elevation along with Dead of the Night released on December 11th for Black Ops pass holders on PlayStation 4. So January is that 4th month in which Black Ops 4 will extend over into in the life cycle of the game, and right now we don't have anything given to us, but that said, we still have a lot of time and a lot of area for that to change. We've seen an introduction of a new map in some capacity, whether slight variation or brand new, every single month since, so I can't imagine January is any different. And again, keep an eye out maybe for that date of the 15th. Though if we compare to recent trends, the first installment of DLC, if there is multiple, was granted on the second Tuesday of the month, so that means that potentially even as of the 8th we end up getting one. But it also logically, I think, because of other factors we'll talk about, makes sense that the 15th is very viable as well, especially given that's the second Tuesday if you don't count a holiday in which everybody's out of the office. Another piece of interesting content that I'm really surprised we haven't seen just yet is that Vapor Vampire Hunter variant that we saw all the way back with the Absolute Zero trailer. We've gotten every single piece of content within that, to my knowledge, outside of that weapon. We ended up seeing things like the Paladin Valkyrie variant, as well as the Ultimus variations of the Blackout Zombies Crew 2 2 of those in the Contraband stream, 2 of them in special orders, and some of the other content thrown in the mix throughout that trailer. We haven't seen that Vapor Vampire Hunter variant just yet, and I truthfully think that it more than likely will be this month, and probably again as a special order refresh. But the nice part about the special orders, if it does fall into that category, is that we've recently seen them be on a weekly rotation, not the twice weekly like they used to be with some of the uniforms. But with that kind of narrows it down that we'll see it on either the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, or the 29th if it comes this month. And again, we'll talk about it a little bit further, but the 15th is a rather interesting date as well to keep in mind. The next content addition is kind of smaller on the end of actual content granted to players, but it's something that's of course interactive and players will be able to take advantage of, that being brand new modes. We talked about it very briefly in the things to look out for earlier in the week, but CTF was recently leaked via the COD app. This would be the second thing that was leaked as the COD app, and with the first one coming into fruition as being the Black Ops Pass maps, we saw those leaked. To me, it just kind of comes down to a matter of when. If it was added into an official Call of Duty application, it has to have some sort of merit behind it, does it not? When I look at the modes, it's also something that it could really be anything outside of that even, because there's a lot of things still in the playing cards from Treyarch that they've used in past years they could easily bring back up and bring some fan favorites to life within Black Ops 4. And especially with Half Off Heist still being the featured playlist after a couple of weeks now, I think anybody would take anything new at this point. But we still have tons of heavy hitters again, like Infected, Demolition, Prop Hunt from Black Ops 3, Sticks and Stones, Fracture, which honestly I really enjoyed that game mode, One of the Chambers, Sharpshooter, you get the picture. There's a lot of game modes you can pull from the Black Ops franchise alone, not even just going out and kind of doing other variations of existing game modes or pulling things that other games revolutionized like Modern Warfare Remastered with Prop Hunt. That came out because of the popularity within Modern Warfare Remastered, but you get the picture. There's a lot of things that still could be done, and I'm expecting something new and something big to be added in within Black Ops 4 because we haven't seen really anything too exciting in the way of brand new game modes as of recently, or at least not to my recent recollection. Now, we're gonna kind of switch gears from just multiplayer content and move over to the last 2 things I want to talk about dealing with Blackout and Zombies. The first one with Blackout, I'm not expecting any massive event or anything like that. The holiday event, I think, is the last thing we'll see in terms of aesthetic changes for at least this operation within Operation Absolute Zero. But what I am expecting something of is something of an echelon increase. And I don't know if it will come in January, but it's been definitely a decent amount of time since it has been initially teased, and we thought that maybe it would even come with the additions of camos, of private matches, and things like that within Blackout, but it did not. And so we're still left with this big question mark, and with the potential for so much being able to happen in terms of a massive title update, if these other things do happen. I mean, if we're gonna end up getting brand new maps, if we're gonna end up getting new modes, League Play, a big chunk of the game, which is added in post-launch, that's going to take a significant size in terms of a title update. So if that's the case, you could easily sneak in something that readjusts how the ranking system works within Blackout, and whether or not that's something that just adds more echelon rankings or if it adds a whole brand new prestige system, we don't know. But the echelon increase is something that was mentioned as of quite some time ago, but we've still yet to see anything come to fruition of it. So while this one might not be as definitively tied to January, I think it'd be something that I would be rather perplexed if it was held off past January. So I guess we'll see with that one, but the final thing I want to talk about deals a little bit with Zombies and some Zombies content coming as well. Now feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, I think there actually is still something that was mentioned for launch that is yet to come into Black Ops 4 Zombies, so that'll probably be coming within this month as well if it does come along with a massive title update. But what I'm thinking of is potentially Nuketown Zombies, because if you guys remember back a couple of months ago now at this point, there was a former employee of Treyarch that got fired. He was a QA tester, somebody that literally plays the game for 8 to 10 to 12 hours on end trying to figure out bugs, all these working builds of the game, playing on that to make sure that it is something stable enough to push out to the general public. Now, whenever he ended up getting fired, he leaked a ton of stuff. He easily could have been talking out his bottom, but he gave away legitimate steps for Easter eggs, accurately depicted some of the content that was released at a later point in time, so by my accounts, he seemed to have a little bit of credibility behind him. And the one thing that he mentioned was that we'd end up getting Nuketown Zombies as a map at a later point. Now, if Nuketown Zombies was in a workable QA state, it is right around that time where it would be something released to the public. We wouldn't see that be held off for another 3-4 months, presumably, but it would be something that would be so close close to completion it would be on the near horizon that it was released. And being that we just got Black Ops Pass content, it wouldn't surprise me if that's also the case, because I can't imagine this being tethered to the Black Ops Pass. And if it is something that is at a later point, I'd imagine there's a lot of backlash coming at that point. But being that it's more than likely not going to be, that makes sense to come either this month or potentially next. It just kind of depends on how they decide to drip the content for the Black Ops Pass, because we have 12 MP maps, so it works out that potentially every other month we end up getting 2 maps for multiplayer, but with 4 zombies maps, that's a bit of a curveball since you can't really stick to that same exact release pattern. But regardless, maybe we end up seeing Nuketown Zombies come as well. But in terms of just general notes and when we can maybe see this happen, again, a lot of the content that we see following different patterns comes at that second Tuesday within each month. Nuketown, as well as the Black Ops Pass content, that was all released on PlayStation 4 first as per exclusivity deals. You'd end up getting that the second Tuesday of every month, so that's naturally when we'd see an update come for that. And we are fast approaching that second Tuesday of the month, that being the 8th, so as of this coming Tuesday, there's the possibility that we may have a new title update that gives us a bunch of stuff and has been so well hidden we haven't seen anything just yet. But another date that does stand out to me, and for interesting reason, again, is that January 15th date that we've mentioned a couple of times. And again, we've said this because not only does that fall right before the CWL qualifiers, and also right in that time frame of the 13th around then from what we've seen as kind of the average for that first initial date in which we get content, but also if you take a look at the 15th, that's actually the halfway point of Operation Absolute Zero. Will have been 35 days out of the 70 days allotted for this operation, and it interestingly enough also is a Tuesday, which is normally when we see title updates as well happen. And if again you take out the fact that the first Tuesday of the month being the 1st was a holiday where nobody would be in the office, it's still in a way the second Tuesday of the month. So when you put all that kind of stuff together, it seems like there's a lot of things that could converge on the 15th or maybe even earlier, just based off of previous patterns, likelihoods of coinciding with other current events, and just the timing of the operation at hand itself works. So maybe we'll see something happen on the 15th, maybe we'll see something happen this coming Tuesday, maybe a week after the 15th, so that we end up having it on the 22nd. We don't exactly know, but January, of course, is a lot of open real estate for potential content releases, and again, I can't see Treyarch really not dropping any content for an entire month. So as for what it will be and when it will be, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, what you guys think about this speculation, what you think about these theories. Do you guys agree with the timing and the content here in the video, or maybe do you have some other ideas you'd like to pitch out there for everybody to see? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, multiplayer, Blackout, zombies. We got you covered the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. And if you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever that may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well, that's it out of the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.